Villains and warrior cats tend to be either firmly related, as in they are part of a group like the kin, or have no interaction with other villains at all. However, with the two I am talking about today, though they briefly interact and commit evil together, their villainy and reasons for it has nothing to do with each other. Today, I will be going over the actions of Hawkfrost, son of Tigerstar, whom I have already covered, and the terrifying Ashfur, whose evil actions started in the second arc and reached all the way to the 7th. I can't wait to see how long he's going to end up in jail for, considering all the evil he's done. Before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post both Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats content, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Let's start off with Hawkfrost. Hawkfrost places a moth's wing on a rock in order to fake a sign from StarClan urging Mudfur to choose Mothwing, his sister, as the new healer of RiverClan. For that, he can be charged with forgery. Hawkfrost starts training in the Dark Forest. This could lead to him being charged with being a member of a banned group, as being in the Dark Forest is not a banned thing to do, but considered a highly dangerous thing to do, and is greatly discouraged considering, it's cat hell. Hawkfrost interfered in the Wind Clan Civil War, helping Mudclaw revolt against One Whisker in exchange for becoming deputy. For that, he can be charged with treason, as he is both overthrowing a rightful leader and betraying his old clan's wishes to do so. Part of this plan was to kill One Whisker and Ashfur before they could make it to the newly minted Moonpool. This plan was unsuccessful, so I will charge him with 2 charges of conspiracy to commit murder. Hawkfrost conspires with Ashfur to kill Firestar, the leader of ThunderClan, so that his brother Brambleclaw can become leader in his stead. He succeeds in taking 1 life from Firestar, and for that I will charge him with first-degree murder. This is when he collaborates with Ashfur briefly. When Brambleclaw attempts to stop him, he attacks Brambleclaw, leading to a charge of second-degree attempted murder. In the process, Hawkfrost died and he was sent to the Dark Forest. However, that did not stop him from committing more crimes. Hawkfrost's first known apprentice in the Dark Forest was Lionpaw, whom he did not treat well despite him being his adopted nephew. At one point, he attacks Lionpaw severely, leading to him bleeding in the real world. This is child abuse. Hawkfrost deceives Ivypaw about his true nature when he recruits her, making her believe that he is a StarClan cat. This is identity fraud, as he is lying about the nature of his identity. Those are, shockingly, the only crimes that he has committed, but what about war crimes? Hawkfrost can be held liable for warmongering, as he helped start battles between the clans from the Dark Forest, such as the one that Ivypool helped cause by talking to Firestar. Overall, here are his charges: 20 years for forgery, 3 years for being a member of a band group, 20 years for 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, life for first-degree murder, 5 to 15 years for second-degree attempted murder, a minimum of life and a maximum of death for treason, up to 15 years for 2 counts of child abuse, up to 15 years for identity fraud, and 30 years for warmongering. The number of years Hawkfrost will be serving is 154 years, assuming that the life sentence that a cat would serve is 12 years long. Now on to Ashfur. Ashfur's first criminal action was being an accomplice to murder. After witnessing Squirrelfly leave him for Brambleclaw, he wanted to expose Brambleclaw as a traitor and ruin his reputation so Squirrelfly would stay with him. In order to do so, he collaborated with Hawkfrost to lead Firestar down to the lake and have Brambleclaw kill him. Though they had different motives, both of them came together for the common goal of killing Firestar. Firestar didn't end up losing all of his remaining lives, however. He did lose a single life from bleeding out. For helping to kill his own leader, Ashfur can not only be charged with accomplice to a murder, but also treason. Ashfur exposed his own plot to Squirrelfly and Leafpool in order to get Squirrelfly to possibly witness Brambleclaw killing Ashfur, but instead Brambleclaw appeared to be even more of a hero to her. Ashfur continued to be quiet about his involvement, instead playing the part of a bystander and bided his time until he could finally get revenge in a different way. Ashfur was assigned to be the mentor of Lionpaw, one of Squirrelfly's children. He ended up attacking Lionpaw during training sessions. For that, I can charge him with child abuse. Later, lightning strikes ThunderClan territory and sets it ablaze. As Squirrelfly and her kids evacuate camp, Ashfur blocks their path, proclaiming that he would kill them right there in order to make her feel the same pain that she brought him. That gives him 3 charges of second-degree attempted murder. He can also be charged with reckless endangerment of Squirrelflight. Even though he didn't plan on killing her and just wanted her to suffer by seeing her kids die, he kept her near the fire, which could have killed her anyways. Ashfur threatens to tell the secret of the 3's true heritage after that, and also gives Jay Feather, a blind healer, death threats for pestering him. Before he's able to make do on any of his promises, he's killed by Hollyleaf. He does not go to the Dark Forest, despite trying to murder several cats, but instead StarClan. But that doesn't mean his days of evil are over. In fact, it is far from it. Though on the surface he appeared changed, in reality it was nothing but a ruse, as he was still obsessed over scroll flight. Ashfur gave Shadowpaw false signs, making him believe that StarClan wanted codebreakers out of the clan. Those signs were always accompanied by seizures, and it is possible that it was caused by a StarClan cat giving unauthorized visions, aka Ashfur possibly caused his seizures. For that, I will charge him with child abuse. Ashfur's visions caused Bramblestar to lose a life after Shadowpaw followed his advice of leaving the leader in the cold to cure his sickness. For that, I will charge Ashfur with first-degree murder. Ashfur entered Bramblestar's body and used his authority to control cats to his whims and become a true tyrant. Even though a leader's word is law, a large number of his commands fall outside what is acceptable for a leader, and so cats began to question him. In an eerie recreation of the events leading up to his mother's death, Ashfur smears prey blood around the house to attract dogs. Then he sent his supposed daughter, Sparkpelt, to hunt there. She almost died, so I can charge him with first-degree attempted murder. After Shadowsight became close enough to learn the truth, he aimed to kill Shadowsight by attacking him and throwing his body into a ravine where he could not be found. I believe this was premeditated, so I will charge him with first-degree attempted murder once more. He kidnapped Squirrelflight to make her join him in the spirit world. For that, he will obviously be charged with kidnapping. I also charge him stalking for how he has treated Squirrelflight. Later, it is discovered that he hasn't just been causing trouble in the living world, but the spirit world as well. He imprisoned a dozen or so souls of dead cats, preventing them from reaching StarClan. As I've said countless times before, this is unlawful imprisonment, and I will give him a dozen charges. He kills the healer of RiverClan, Willowbreeze. I believe that was murder in the second degree, but I don't remember the events around that very well. He then controls her spirit to lure in others, which I will charge as coercion, as that is what I normally do for mind control spells when I'm charging dragons from Wings of Fire. He also controls Rootspring and Snowtuft to make them fight each other, which is another charge of coercion. He then kills Snowtuft, leading to yet another charge of second-degree attempted murder. As for war crimes, Ashfur can be charged with warmongering, as he mongered for war between ThunderClan and ShadowClan after they refused to follow his rules as Brashstar. He deprived prisoners of a fair trial, and he gave inane punishments to cats like not speaking for a moon with no trial. Giving prisoners a punishment with no trial is a war crime. He can be charged with compelling a prisoner of war to fight for a hostile power, because he used mind control to make StarClan cats and ghosts do his bidding. That's something that I forgot to do in other videos, this one charge. Scarlet probably would have had it if I remembered this one existed, but I didn't. And so here's the overall charge count. 2 counts of life for 2 counts of attempted murder first degree, 15 to 45 years for 3 counts of attempted murder second degree, 15 years for 2 counts of child abuse, a minimum of 2 life sentences and maximum of death for committing treason twice, 5 years for endangerment, 25 years for kidnapping, 2 years for stalking if I want to be generous. We know no one does anything about stalking in the real world. 2 counts of life for 2 charges of first degree murder, 10 to 30 years for 2 counts of second degree murder, up to 60 years for 12 counts of unlawful imprisonment, and 12 years for coercion. As for war crimes, he gets 30 years for warmongering, 30 years for depriving prisoners of a fair trial, and 30 years for compelling a prisoner of war to fight for a hostile power. The total number of years that Ashfur would need to serve in jail comes out to a whopping 341 years. Once again, this is assuming that the life sentence for a cat is around 12 years. Did you like this video? If so, comment some more cats I can charge down below. Also, please mention if I forgot anything, or if anything is too inaccurate to real life law as well. I'd hate to let any cat get away with a crime. If you liked this video, feel free to subscribe as well. I make Wings of Fire and Word Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who've already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.